Welcome to Lesson 6 of mySci Unit 18, Our Dynamic Earth. In Lesson 6, students will answer the question, how do natural Earth processes result in hazards that affect humans? Students will build on their prior learning about how Earth's features change over time. In this lesson, they will observe patterns in Earth hazards that are directly related to their learning about plate motion and weathering and erosion, including earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and floods. They figure out that maps can be used to indicate locations on Earth that are at greatest risk. They also figure out that while locations of earthquakes can be predicted, predicting when these events may occur is difficult. In the engaged portion of this lesson, students will participate in a discussion related to questions about natural hazards. Using various talk moves, students can discuss if they have experienced earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or floods, what they are like, and what happens during these events. Next, students will watch video clips about these natural hazards and consider how Earth processes affect humans. Students will then observe the crack plates interactive maps from the previous lessons. They will review the map for patterns in the location of earthquakes and volcanoes on Earth. Students should recall that earthquakes and volcanoes are often located near plate boundaries. Students will also observe an interactive map on extreme flood events. They will analyze the map for patterns in the location of floods on Earth between 1985 and 2002. They can click on the boxes to indicate where flooding occurred during a given year and compare this to other years. Each of these maps is considered a model. Students will consider how models provide important information to humans. In this case, the models provide specific information about locations on Earth that are at the greatest risk of natural disasters. In the Explore portion of this lesson, students will analyze a chart to consider the amount of warning time people have for various natural hazards. Students will observe that while floods, hurricanes, and volcanic eruptions have advanced warning, earthquakes and wildfires do not. Next, students will watch a video to consider how we use engineering to protect people from the effects of earthquakes. Since the timing of earthquakes cannot be predicted, humans must use engineering to prepare for them instead. They will obtain information from video and text resources about various building designs that can help decrease the impacts of earthquakes. Base isolators, for example, isolate the building structure from the ground movement. Additionally, pressurized rubber at the base of a building could keep specific types of elastic waves from traveling through the ground. This design idea, termed an invisibility cloak, would result in the waves traveling around the building rather than through it. In the Explain portion of this lesson, students will read Shattering Earthquakes. This is a read-aloud book, and the read-aloud guide can be found in the teacher pages. The read-aloud guide can be used to help students understand where earthquakes happen, other disasters caused by earthquakes, what happens after an earthquake, and how people can prepare for earthquakes. Additionally, there are a number of articles that students can read to obtain more information about earthquakes, what causes them, and whether humans can cause them. In the Elaborate portion of this lesson, students will begin to develop their initial ideas about designing buildings to keep people safe. They will record these ideas as well as any initial sketches in their student journal. In the Evaluate portion of this lesson, students will complete a formative assessment. They will compare and contrast earthquakes and volcanoes. Students should recognize that both of these events generally occur at plate boundaries, associated with plate motion. However, these natural hazards have different warning times, and the length of their occurrence can vary greatly. That being said, both of these natural hazards can negatively impact humans, and engineering design must be used to minimize these impacts. By the end of this lesson, students should have used interactive maps as data sources to determine the location of and causes for natural processes, including floods, earthquakes, and volcanoes. Additionally, they will have described possible solutions to alleviate hazardous effects of Earth processes on humans.